And we are live, I think. Let me just double check. I think so. Yes.
Excellent.
Awesome. Hey everyone. Exciting times. Wow. We've got a special guest, as you can see here on the screen. I was going to make a big surprise, but he was already on the screen. So there you go. This is Daniel Scuteri from Tech with Benefits.
Hello, everybody.
There's two main reasons why he's here, really. One is he used to work for Samsung, so he's got a lot of kind of inside knowledge, so to speak, and all the stuff that he knows goes behind the scenes and a lot of detail about these devices we're going to be talking about today. And the other reason, selfishly enough, is because he actually held these devices. He was invited by Samsung to a special, behind closed door events. Only a few creators have been able to do this, and he's actually got footage, which he will share here today, of him, going through the details, holding every single one: the Fold 5, the Flip 5, the Tab S9, and the watch as well, I believe.
So, everything.
Awesome. Before we crack on, I think I can see a few of you joining in from South Korea as well. Amazing. So say where you're coming from if you haven't already, and we'll do a quick hello just to make sure that I get everyone here. Togo joining from Germany, looking forward to the Fold 5. I have to say, man, I'm with you on that one. Hello. I guess this from South Korea. Amazing. Gosh. And Kevin, you're always on the streams. Thank you for joining again. And Wendy, I've seen you. You've been waiting for a while in there as well. It's all good. Brilliant. Right. So where should we start? I mean, I'm super hyped about this event. I was watching and almost salivating, because I haven't seen these devices yet. So I was kind of like you, probably, just kind of enjoying the ride. So I was really, there was a couple of low points which we'll talk about later. But Daniel, let's start with Fold 5. I think that's the one that everyone is.
5, shall we?
Yeah.
Why not? Well, let me whack a video up on the screen, hey, because I may as well do that. So my first impressions when I held it was just, I was so impressed with like its feel. Like there was a moment when I picked it up, that color, the icy blue, man.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going for. Yeah.
Sensational, right? That's definitely the one that I'm sort of, and then you can see the no gap, right? It's completely flat cool when it's closed. Yeah.
Where's mine?
And the metal rails are sort of flatter on the sides as well. So like that was simply something that I appreciated when I held it.
But that's definitely a new color, right? This color wasn't available before on the Fold, right?
No, last year's Fold was not. They didn't have blue. I think they had green, beige, black with the 3 colors. But this blue one, it's a nice matte finish as well. Like it feels nice in the hand. And they've not changed much in terms of its physical appearance compared to last year. But I don't think they had to. Right?
You know what I like about this is it was already, and I said this in my video, which I'll release later on. It was already a great. It's deceptively good to use. I've shared that in all my reviews. It's like, how can this thing be so? It looks to me when I was first looking into the Fold, kind of an unwieldy device and very clunky to look at. But like you said, so deceptively good, and for them to improve it even further, I just can't wait to have it.
Yeah, like you can see when you look at the Fold 1, the Fold 2, the Fold 3, the Fold 4, and the Fold 5. It's definitely a journey of refinement. I mean, Fold 1 to 2 was probably the biggest jump when it came to.
Yeah, I didn't even look at those because they were, they're still expensive. But at the time, I was like, get out of here, It's like the tiny
screen. Didn't even worry about it at that
I didn't even think. Yeah, and I felt a little bit like that with the Pixel Fold recently. I was like, nah. There's too many compromises for that price, right? And I felt the same with the original Fold.
I think with the Pixel Folds compared to like this, for example, like the Pixel Fold, they've done a different approach with how wide the cover screen is. And Samsung all along have said that the outer display, like we've got to take BHD's, put a comment in there, would have
Yeah.
loved a wider display, and that's fair enough. But Samsung's approach from the start is the intention is to make you open it.
Yeah.
Because when you open the fold, that is effectively when all of the magic happens. So should we take a bit of a look at what happens, what it looks like when it's open?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, honestly, that's how I use my phone. I barely, it's nice to have the screen on the front, and I use it for like getting out of jail. But yeah, this is when. See, I'm
That's the
intrigued
thing,
about the hinge, right? Because that's the thing that people will go straight for. I can obviously you can still see the line in there. Did you feel when you were holding it and using it, Daniel, that it was any better, or is it still the same little bump, that you feel on the Fold 4?
It's definitely not as noticeable as the Fold 4 in terms of the big gutter. It is a little bit shallower in its approach, but it's still there. And look, to be honest, I think it's very intentional from Samsung to apply, like have the crease part of the experience when you open it. A lot of other foldables, they give, because like when you get another foldable, the creases are much wider, but over time that crease gets worse with repeated folds. Whereas Samsung kind of take the approach that, well, we know the crease exists on a folding phone, so we're going to give you the experience that you're likely to have consistently throughout the life. But when you saw it there, it's not as bad. And when you're looking at front on, you don't notice it.
Yeah. And did you feel was it any lighter than the current one?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a clip when I was holding it. It's in my video that's on my channel now. There's just a moment when I'm holding it, and out of nowhere, I just sort of say, "Wow, this feels so much lighter," and that's because it's 10 grams lighter than its predecessor, which might not sound like a lot, but I think with the disbursement of the weight and how it's also now a lot more compact to hold when it's closed as well, I think you feel it a lot more than what you potentially would have. Like that's 13 grams heavier than a 14 Pro Max, which is a phone that does nothing.
Yeah, that's anyway. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think, it's only going to get better, right? For context, for those of you who just joined, Daniel's here with me today. Daniel actually used to work for Samsung, and he was invited by Samsung to actually, as you can see, some of the clips that we're showing here today, he's held his devices. So quite a privilege to having me here today. Got some comments and questions coming in as well. So let's deal with a couple of those. The question here, hey Alex, which do you like more, fold or flop? I think the flip is a flop, really, to be honest. I'm sure you misspelled that. No, it is. I'd say the fold is my go-to. Although for the first time, I mean, there was a lot of focus on the flip, and we'll talk about it in a minute when Daniel, has got some clips on that as well. But for me, it's just one of those things. It feels like a selfie-centered device. It's almost like. It's very convenient to use. You can kind of hold it on hand, and it's very cute, right? And it's perfect for those scenarios where you just want to, take a photo, and you want a good camera to take the selfie. And they did a lot on the the widgets and the zooming in and out, and also, but it's not something that I do a lot. I'm in my 40s, so I'm probably not the target audience for this device anyway. But it was the first time actually it looks decent.
Yeah, it's definitely a device targeted at a specific demographic, and I think Samsung know that. Like you saw it in their marketing, like in their Unpacked event just then, they had Sydney Sweeney marketing it. You know, and that is obviously the demographic that they're going after is people who are young, enthusiastic. They love customization, personalization. But for you, I really think the features that I think you'll like, I want to show you is the Flex Mode panel.
Yeah,
they talked about it briefly on stage. We'll quickly get it up as the video. So last year they introduced the Flex Mode panel with the Fold 4. Basically, Samsung just forcing apps that don't support Flex Mode panel natively to support Flex Mode, because we all know how slow developers are getting on board if anything that doesn't have an Apple logo on it. So there's a look at how thin it is when it's open.
Yeah.
So to demonstrate this, I used one of my own videos shamelessly. But when you pop the phone into Flex Mode, YouTube supports Flex Mode natively, so it already has its own UI. But down the bottom next to the taskbar, you get the option to activate the Flex Mode.
Oh, hang on, that's new, right? Can you go back a few seconds back?
That's okay. The Flex Mode panel was there last year, but it wasn't available in YouTube. Why can't I go back? Here we go.
There was something on the bottom left that I just spotted it.
Yeah, the little
Oh,
panel
right, yeah,
button there, right? Yep. So you press that,
cool.
and then that'll bring up the flex mode panel. And this is where, with YouTube videos, for example, you can scrub through the video a lot quicker.
Right.
And you've got the 10-second forward, 10 seconds back. You've got the little shortcuts on the left-hand side. That's sort of
And
there
does
as
that
well.
work with? Is that going to work with every app, or they're still going to be like developing for some apps?
This is Samsung forcing it. So Samsung allow you in the settings to turn on per app,
Oh,
how you
right.
want to use it. So whatever
Right.
app you feel like using this with, providing it's a media app, for example, you get the media
Oh,
controls.
that's
But if it's an
cool as
app,
well.
yeah, there's the little touchpad gestures. So, like, for example,
Yeah.
if you put the cursor, you can scrub through with a double finger swipe sort of through, which I really
Brilliant.
like.
Yeah.
And then a couple of fingers on the touchpad will activate sort of different things.
Nice.
I like FlexPod just because of the fact if I'm watching football, like I'll be able to set the phone down. I don't need a case that has one of those kickstands on it. I can literally use this as the kickstand for that literal purpose, which I really like.
Brilliant.
Then you can bring up multitasking from there as well. Like, it's just a really fluid use case of how to use a foldable, and that's why I really like it. I think you would like it too. What about you guys in the comments? You should let us know as well.
There was actually a question about the weight again from Wendy. You know, does it feel a lot heavier than the S23 Ultra, which I think is an important question too.
Yeah, no. Like the S23 Ultra, obviously, when with no case on it, feels quite nice. Like I think that's 233 grams, so it's roughly 20 grams heavier. But when you've got it open, because of how the weight gets sort of dispersed across the device, you genuinely don't notice it being heavier. When it's closed, I think if you're holding it extended period of time, this was my experience with the Fold 4, so I can't speak to Fold 5 yet because I haven't had it long enough. It didn't feel heavier though when it was open, and that for me was I really appreciated that and how that felt.
Yeah. There's a question from, well, not a question, but just a comment, which I think is interesting as well. So Ivan is keeping his Fold 4, but he might look at the Flip 5 for his third SIM, I guess. I mean, the point on discount is really interesting. Like Samsung always do some amazing deals on these phones at launch.
Pre-order offers are one that they absolutely just go crazy with. I think in Australia, we've got a double your storage. So you buy the base model config, you get double the storage go up. I don't know if that's a global one yet or not. I'm not too sure. We'll have to obviously see what deals they got. We jumped straight on this stream after Unpacked to just go straight into it.
Yeah, we've got it's going to be a busy day and potentially an expensive day as well. There's a question here, and just so you know, we are going to be showing you all the other stuff that Daniel basically held all of the device. So we're going to be showing you the Flip 5 in a minute. Just before we go into that though, there's a question for me here on whether or not I'm going to be switching back to the iPhone if it brings dominating changes. That if is one of those things, right? In today's tech world, we already know what the iPhone 15 will bring. So they're not going to be dominating changes. And I've gone through a lot of pain and adaptation to get my stuff not so much moved to Android, but to get Android and Apple working in a way that works for me. So I know already I'm not going to be switching to the iPhone. I will though buy one and review it for the channel for comparisons, because that's what we do.
It's
right?
the hustle, right? That's what you got to do.
But I'm not going to be using it as my main phone, and probably after a few weeks, I'll send it back to Apple or sell it.
Selling it's a good option because apparently they hold their value. iPhones. That's what I hear. Is they just hold their value.
No.
There's a question I want to answer from Jay. He's actually a friend of mine. He said, "How was the experience at your Samsung local briefing event?" Funny you ask, Jay. As you were there, navigating me through the products, it was exceptional. Like for those who haven't been to a briefing before, which I assume is a lot of us, you get the spiel, like you get the big dogs, the vice president, the head of the department, sort of talking to you and running you through the products. And what I really picked up on was how everything was geared towards high end. Like customers were after high end products, so that's why they don't fear bringing out high end foldables, because the market showed with S23 Ultra that people wanted flagships. So That was kind of the position that we sort of got, but also the products and the experiences were really good.
Jay, I've got one question for you. Where's my invite? That's
Yes.
what I wanna know.
Well, you're in the UK, so
I'm
unless you
okay,
want, if you could have flown over, and we probably could have organised it.
yeah, there you go.
But it might be easier to get one sent over.
You've got
there.
the contacts. Hook me up.
Did they show the S Pen at
Yes,
Unpacked?
briefly.
They did.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's sold immediately. Add to cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'll quickly show, because I got a
Let's show
visual
that.
of
Let's
the
show that
case.
because that. Oh yeah, hang on. Let me bring the video up. There you go.
So
Yeah.
case, like you can see, right, how much slimmer it is. There's no like hump on the back. It basically just flattens out in the back.
So
And I've got a comparison to the Fold 4 S Pen case.
Oh wow,
You can see the difference, right?
Very bulky.
Like that was an improvement on the Fold 3, which was terrible.
Yeah.
But this one, like you can just see the difference. It is definitely a much better package. And I'm excited. Especially that color. Like that blue with that yellow. Love it.
I'm completely sold. I wonder if they'll do other colors. Did they say anything about that? Or is that the only color?
There was another one there. I'm pretty sure. I did see another case. There. It's kind of in the corner of that video.
Oh yeah.
You can see that sort of gray with that orange. So I think that might be the other one. But I didn't look at that one. I just looked at the blue.
So what's that groove at the top? The very top is. I think you pulled it to release the pen. Is that what it's for?
Yeah, I'll play that one again. So it's just you clip it, and then the pen clips out.
Gotcha.
And then and it's it's a separate accessory. I'd love if they bundled this with the Fold at some point, just because
it
I
makes
just
so
feel
much sense.
like it's such a important accessory. Actually, hold on. I got a picture of all of the accessories here. Let's freeze it. There it is there. So you can see in the middle, it's like a gray with an orange.
Papaya color or something.
Yeah. So that was, and there's some of the other accessories that are coming for the Fold as well. There's like a stand, there's like the little grip case, and then some flip ones, but we'll get on to flip in a moment.
Yes.
Johannes,
it did. So I was gonna say on the pen, I also noticed that the tip was, maybe it's just the lighting in there. It was kind of lighter than, it was black before. Is it different?
Oh yeah, the pen, the tip for the Fold S Pen has to be different to the tip that's on the S23 Ultra because it's a foldable display. It's a little bit more delicate. So Samsung were just aware of that, and they built like this S Pen won't work on the S23 Ultra, for example. Like it'll recognize it because it uses that Wacom digitizer technology. It'll actually pick it up when you get close to the screen, but it won't actually write or do anything because its frequency is just a little bit different to actually write on the display. So the Fold one is specifically built for the Fold. That's why
you touched on something that I, as a complete noob on Folds, last year when I bought mine, I removed the kind of screen protector. Not knowing what it was, and I just thought it was like one of those things that comes with the packaging, and a lot of viewers like, what are you doing, you idiot? Now
I removed my Flip 4 one.
Why do people? Is it good or bad or is it indifferent?
It's it just, I think with everything that happened with the first Fold, Samsung just liked to be cautious,
right?
And that extra layer, it's just there for that little bit extra of protection. I don't think it's a make or break, but the thing is, it doesn't feel like, I think there was one they put on the Fold 2 and it was just grippy and it wasn't smooth, added nothing to the experience. In fact, took away from it. So I think they had to fix it. And now I think it doesn't really impact the experience.
That's how I felt. I thought it was great. I mean, it's been nearly a year and it's been fantastic. But I did wonder if I made a mistake there. Cool. Shall we talk flip now? Shall we join the flip side, as they say?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get some flip stuff happening. Because whilst some people write the flip off, I really just big fan of what the flip does. Like, I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think what I really like about it is just it's so personable. It's got a lot of character, and it's just a phone that stands out. And I think that's the whole purpose of the flip. It stands out from other phones. Like it's not designed to be the same, even though effectively when it's open, it's like it's the same phone when it's open. It's a normal phone, but it's just because it gives you that different form factor. But look at the cover screen. Like it's a different
starting to get
experience than what you've had
interesting. I
before.
mean, for me, I have to be honest, right? I don't really see a lot of the of the fascination on it, but I'm now starting to see, because of that bigger screen is not so much of a gimmick anymore. Really, it's more useful. You know, the widgets that you can have in there. And I mean, I used to, to have the Motorola Razr back in the day, the original one. And I love flippy phones. So I might be tempted this year. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to my accountant and see what he thinks.
This is yeah. They'll always say don't spend money. Like this is for me with kids, having the flip with like the flex mode, having it be able to be propped up on a surface. I always find it really awkward asking people to take photos.
Right.
So I like having the option. Look, the Fold does this too, but the flip is better suited to it because the rear cameras and the cover screen are on the same side, whereas the Fold doesn't have that.
Yeah.
They've just made it more flexible, if I can use a pun. Like you can zoom in now, you have that bigger display. Like there's just more that you can sort of do with it. And it's just a better experience compared to what it has been.
What about the accessories for it? I mean, obviously that's going to be quite a tricky one to have a case on, right? Because it kind of takes away from the.
Accessories. I've got a short clip of all the accessories here, and you can sort of. I'll pause it when I get to the flip one. The thing they've tried to do with the flip accessories is they've either tried to make it super functional or super personalized. So like this one here is like a one that protects the hinge. It's got like a little ribbon that sort of flows through it. This beige and sort of grey one. And then you've got one that you can have got the rings that clip in. But there was one that they showed us, which was called the flip suit. I want to say it was the flip suit.
Okay.
But it could have easily also been the flex suit. I genuinely can't remember. But so like, for example,
it's
you've got
like
this
a
plastic
clear case thing.
Yeah, clear case. And you've got the cover screen there with random background. But if you put this NFC sort of textured card in the back of it, it'll pick up on that straight away, and the cover screen will automatically change to match. So
interesting.
You can see it's now themed out, right, and matches. And I think they did say that there was going to be like some third-party brands, like they've done some collaborations with brands for the Flip 4, but didn't have this level of customization or integration into it. So having that card be like, let's say, for example, a Simpsons one, right? And you have the Simpsons on the background of the card, and then maybe the couch on the background of the phone. So like there's things that they can do. I really would like to have a business card in the back of my Tech with Benefits, and then like get the option to theme it out myself. That would be cool.
Nice. Yeah,
I mean, like that.
We've got a few questions on the flip side. It's got a lot of people are interested. One was not so much a question, but something I didn't know. So there's no DeX on the flip, right?
Yeah, I think it's an intentional. Again, this is my interpretation of not necessarily what I've been told officially, but just by being in and around the Samsung environment, the flip not being targeted to the consumer that Samsung believes would use DeX. They potentially can save on some storage space and some RAM, or just some stuff internally to not include it. It's perfectly capable. Like it's got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy. It's got 8 GB of RAM. It's got enough storage. There's no reason.
It just doesn't feel like, it's not the type. I mean, I just think at the user, right? It's probably not the type of user who would run DeX as well, maybe.
Yeah, and battery life as well. Like considering it's a smaller battery, I think that's been considered. There's a lot of rumors floating around that DeX was going to be on the flip this year, but I've had it confirmed from someone who has flips that it doesn't have it. So that's all right.
Good segue to Faisal.
Bezel.
Bezel, sorry.
No, Faisal. Hello, Faisal. Battery life. So because it's got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, like we saw what that did for the S23 series. Like Alex, you can attest to that, right? Like the battery life on the Ultra is phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah. I did notice in July in the recent updates that it wasn't going as far, but maybe it's my usage that changed a little bit. But it's been fantastic. It's easily 2-day for me device. If I forget to charge overnight, I can go into like 1 p.m., 2 p.m. next day, and it will still be like 20% left. So it's definitely
I'm happy.
the best
I
I've
think
seen so far.
the other day I got like a 7.5 hour screen on time at the end of the day, and I was super stoked with that. So that was really happy for me. Yeah, battery life, I would say, if it depends on how you use it, because of the cover screen being more functional, means you probably need to open it less. So potentially could be using less battery in that sense. So yeah.
Wendy brings up a point that I always mention in my videos. Is usually when I talk about this, is usually related to the Tab S8 Ultra, but it's a fair shout as well. I think there's not that many cool accessories for Samsung, and as many, if you go to an Apple store, for example, comparatively, there's every single brand in the world in there, and every manufacturer seems to create cool gadgets for the iPhones and stuff. So yeah, this will be good to see.
Yeah, that was Wendy. That was an internal frustration for us. That was like something we always used to talk about. Is why there are no third-party accessories. Like Samsung make a lot of accessories. Like if you go to Korea, they have got so many fun, niche, cool accessories for every Samsung device. But yeah, I'm with you there. It'd be really great to see more accessory makers jump on board to provide more. I agree 100%.
Yeah. Now you also had a look at the tablet. Am I right? Have you got
some
footage on the Tab as well?
Oh yes, I do. I don't have as much as I do for the Fold and the Flip, but I think what I do have for the tablet is just showing off the design difference. First, let's just get a look at the Tab S9 Ultra. Like it's just so sleek to look at. Like I love the Tab S8 Ultra. Like I've loved the Tab S8 Ultra. It's been one of my favorites, right? I'm looking at it right now. It's right there behind me, or behind us, I guess you could say. But like physically, if you looked at it, you wouldn't notice too much of a difference. The difference lies at the back here. You can see the camera housing and the S Pen housing is a bit different.
So they removed a little bit of the
housing of the camera.
Yeah.
But the tablet itself on the front is the same, especially with the Ultra. The
same notch, not smaller.
Same notch, the same weight, same dimensions. You can see them side by side there, right? Like they're very, very similar from the front. It's just the back where things get sort of changed.
So I'm going to mention this in my video. I've also pre-recorded a video on this because I was kind of, was a bit. I'm so happy. No, I'm kind of happy with my Tab S8 Ultra. Just did my long-term review on it, and I'm thinking, do we need a Tab S9 Ultra? What is different about it? Because what you showed so far is, it's like you said, right? It's pretty much the same device. Is it better display, better battery? What's it?
The battery is the same. The smaller Tab S9 does get a bigger battery and a better display. It goes from LCD to the dynamic AMOLED 2X. Finally, to be honest, the Tab S7 smaller model should have had that. Really should have had it all along. But I get why they didn't do it. But it's here now. That's also that's got a bigger battery. It's a little bit thinner because AMOLED technology is slimmer than LCD. But yeah, in terms of the Plus and the Ultra, there's really sort of not much change. It is IP68, which someone did put in the comments, which is great. I really like it. But there's a couple of interesting things that I noticed from accessories with the tablet, and I haven't shown you this yet, Alex, so I might show you now. They've got this interesting sort of cover it's like a matte finish on the cover, and you fold it over, right? And then it basically creates like a paper feel.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So you write on this, and it definitely has that scratch, that sort of that feel and resistance that paper and pen sort of has, and pencil has.
That's brilliant. Okay, that's the end of paper, like.
Yeah. Right. Like.
They're most for iPads anyway. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that one I really liked. There was a privacy one of this as well, which blacked out the screen, so only you could sort of see it. Other people from angles. The same concept, but that one was something I enjoyed.
Yeah. So is that new? Is that a new accessory? Is it?
Yes. Yeah. That one's new. That one wasn't available before.
That is really cool. I wish they didn't show that at the event, right? Or did they? Maybe
no, they didn't. I don't think they did. Hey, it's midday for you. How are you falling asleep? I should be the one falling asleep. It's 10:30 here.
I mean, when you got to the Tab S9, I have to say, I was like, okay, there's not much being shown here. So I don't know. I think the feel on writing on glass is always been a bit iffy anyway on every tablet that I've used. The Tab S9 Ultra was probably the best one that I've tried, mainly because of the tip of the pen felt a little bit more grippy on the glass. But this is great. I mean, this is probably going to make it even better because the audio feedback that you got as well when you're writing was pretty good.
Yeah,
and S9 Ultra too. But
now it's like a realistic one. And we didn't get to see it in the event that I went to, but there's this S Pen called the S Pen Creators Edition, which is a separate S Pen you can purchase that gives you extra software that enables better brushes and stuff like that. Is the keyboard case better?
There's a question that I want to know because I don't know. It's kind of not controversial, but a lot of people hated it, and I was put off by it just by watching YouTube videos. I didn't actually try one. I'm actually like it if I try it, but I just saw people trying to use it on their laps and things like that, and it's like that doesn't look comfortable. Maybe it's not meant to be used on the lap, right? But
that's the point. I think it is not. It's definitely designed for table use or tabletop use. The reason why I like the Tab S8 Ultra, and it's the same. Like it's not the same because I tried to use the Tab S9 Ultra on my Tab S8 Ultra keyboard case, and it popped up with a message saying not compatible, and I was very disappointed. But the reason I like this is because I can detach the keyboard, and I have a thin kickstand case, right, that I can then just sort of prop up for entertainment purposes, and that has served me so well in so many different scenarios. Right, like I've been able to take this on for entertainment, but then I use it for productivity. Like it's just a dual purpose case. Yes, it's expensive. I'm not gonna lie, it is. It was not cheap.
No, it was $350 when it came out. I don't know what it is now, but it was
in Australian it was $499, which was wild.
So half the price of the tablet, right? Leah, I see what you mean. And who knows? It feels to me like they could have waited maybe another year to bring out the Tab S9 and maybe come in with some more changes. But I don't know.
I always feel like the tablet should go with the S series because that like them together, like the S series and the Tab S series, they kind of have a synergy because you know the folding phone, you open it up, you've got a tablet. I never thought it would be wise to sell it together, but they have this 18-month cycle, so I guess that's what they need to go with.
So I just want to go back to the Fold a little bit because that's obviously the one I'm excited for. I'm actually got the checkout page ready to go here. I just want to have another look at that because I don't know. I'm really excited. I wish we'd get here like tomorrow. It's gonna be
So I've got the look at the flex mode panel thing I was talking about before. Which is
so is that a new setting then? Completely new, right?
It's in the labs now. It's not as prominent in terms of its capability. Like it still has a lot of the same.
I mean, for people who don't know OneUI, right? Labs is what is Labs?
Labs is basically a lot of it is either features that have come from Goodlock and Samsung have integrated it into Labs as kind of a main feature of OneUI, or they're features that enable extra stuff, extra use cases for people that Samsung think are useful, but they only think maybe the 1% might want to use it. So like the general population won't need it or want it or need to know it's there. For people who want it, they can go there and they can enable a lot more.
Right.
And that was the taskbar. So that they said on stage 4 extra apps can go down the bottom in the recents.
And I saw this thing of they were like using 2 hands to move icons around, move pictures around. That was really cool.
So that was, let's say for example, I think it's in this one here. Let's say you had a photo you wanted to put somewhere. You can long press on the photo in the gallery, and then with your other hand and other finger, open the app that you want it to go into. So it's Samsung Notes, for example, and then drop it in. So it just allows you to use both hands. And because the Fold is a 2-hand device, really, allows you to do that.
That was really useful.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, the taskbar, did it feel different? Is it, what's the main point of it? Is that you've got the ability to put more things in there, or is it more flexible? What's the?
It's four recent apps at the bottom. So as opposed to, I think before it used to only be two that would be down the bottom here. Whereas now it will store up to four, and you can choose 2, 3, or 4. It's up to you.
And you still get the sidebar as well, right?
The edge panels, yeah.
The edge panels. Yeah, so that kind of that taskbar kind of negates a little bit of the side.
At least for the apps edge, yes, but you still got people edge, you still got smart select and all that other stuff that's in the edge panels as well.
Yeah, gosh, there's so much in that, right? I mean,
there's a lot.
And I think that's a great point on Samsung that I've been noticing, right? I've had Samsung before, like, I think before I got really back into it on the S21 Ultra, I had a massive gap that I didn't look at them, but I think since the S6 Edge, they always brought new, really decent, in my view anyway, decent hardware, but the software wasn't really there yet. But what
wasn't until OneUI.
Yeah, I think what they're doing in software now is just, it feels really good as well. I mean, I've had really terrible experience with the S22 Ultra, for example, where Exynos just wasn't up to from a performance perspective.
Let's not get started.
But now it just feels really smooth. I mean, and whenever I show this to people who never used an Android before, or never used a Samsung device before, they go, "Oh my gosh, this feels really sleek." I think hats off to them, and I think it's always good to have a good competition out there.
There's one more fold feature I haven't shown yet, and it's very small, but I'll show it anyway. Let's say you have something in a pop-up view, you can sort of drag it off to a tab on the side, and it'll sort of stay there as like access to it really quickly.
Oh, just kind of to remind you that you've got something open there.
Yeah, I really think for messaging apps that'll work really well, particular like if you're messaging someone watching a football game or something, pop it into a pop-up window, respond to them, drag it off to the side, and it's there if you need to respond back or something like that. Yeah. I really like that idea.
And they haven't made a lot of noise on the camera that's under that display, right? And I'm pretty sure there's
Can you see it?
It's still there, right? I mean, I don't know. Is it?
It's still there. It's just a 4 megapixel camera. And I hear a lot of people talk about that it's only 4 megapixels, can't take selfies. It's not there for that. It's there for your video conferencing. It's there for video calls. It's there as that use case, and that's it. It doesn't need to do anything else. So for what it does, it's great.
Yeah, it feels like the right compromise, right? If you are going to compromise on something, that's probably the thing that not many people, I'd say, use that anyway. I mean, if I
there's plenty of other ways to take selfies, right?
Yeah, and it's nice to know that it's there. And I've been on a call on the train before, and it's like, okay, it's great that I could do it with video, but if I'm in the office or at home, I'm probably not going to take the Fold as my conferencing. I'll either use my laptop or something different. So okay, cool. That's there. So shall we talk about the watch? Because I think there's a question about watch straps and things like that from Wendy.
Yeah, let's get on to watches. Hey, let's get on to watches. So I was really excited to hear that the rotating bezel was back.
There was a lot of woos. I'm pretty sure people are probably showing a sign, right? Can you sound exciting now? But there was a lot of claps, and that looks sleek actually.
Yeah, I think because they've slimmed down the rotating bezel, it's definitely a bigger screen experience. Like, it doesn't get in the way as much. The thing is, Samsung said we're bringing back the Watch Classic. The Classic was never going anywhere. It was always going to be on this 2-year release cycle. So the Pro exists, and then the Pro, the Pro's not going anywhere either. That's still like the battery champion. So, but yeah, the Classic is great. I'm a big fan. I'm definitely keen on the 47 millimeter.
Yeah,
especially the new fitness features.
What's the material they use on that one? The one on the right there. What's the material they use? Is that aluminum or
titanium?
Titanium. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So the titanium, it's the same sort of titanium that's on the Watch 5 Pro. The standard Watch 6 models use aluminium, I think, to keep it light and sleek. But the classics and the pros, they're titanium for durability, like that enhanced durability. But titanium's light too, so.
So it was a funny comment from Leah.
That's a good one.
Let's bring that on a hat. I love Apple products. But yeah, there's a lot that I don't like. So yeah, there's another question here. What shakes the phones are missed opportunities they aren't used. Oh yeah, that's a fair point. When do you think there'll be a 6 Pro? Did they talk about it? I kind of missed that as well.
A Watch 6 Pro.
Yeah.
That'll probably be in next year's refresh.
Right.
I'd like, just judging by the history now they've done, like they did a Watch 4 Classic, Watch 5 Pro, Watch 6 Classic. It'll probably be a Watch 7 Pro. That'll probably be. So there probably won't be a Watch 6 Pro. The Watch 5 Pro will carry the torch for endurance.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff for the next 12 months. And then they'll do another
There's a lot
refresh.
of, I mean, from a sensors perspective, right? It felt like they improved on something that I really care about on all my smartwatches, and that's why I'm wearing my Garmin. I mean, it's funny because I've got my Apple Watch Ultra, and I'm not even lying, I'll show you. It's dead, right? It's sitting here collecting dust, and I'm not even, it's not even charging. And that's been the case for 2 months because it's been so great for sleep tracking. And I just wonder how much better, or if he's any better at all, for that.
Yeah, well,
that looks quite cool.
So I think this is the 43mm one. But what we saw was the better. I was happy. One, I was happy that the rotating bezel was back, as you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's smooth to sort of scroll through it. But yeah, the sleep tracking is better purely.
Does it still have that little kind of? They had kind of sort of stops, right, in between the turn.
The little physical. Yeah, correct. It's like a little clicking sound.
Yeah.
But in terms of the sleep information you get, you can access more of it on the watch itself, as well as things like skin temperature while you're sleeping. You see like consistency.
Yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I really care about. Nice.
Yeah, and it's native on the watch, which is great. Like, you don't need to download a third-party app to make it work. Like, it's all integrated.
It's funny you said that. I literally just canceled so I used for years and years and years. I subscribed to something called Sleep Cycle, and it just added a subscription to, I think it was £17 a year to £35 a year. So I was like, cancel it.
Yeah, see you later.
I don't need it anymore. But yeah, that's the advantage of having a device that has stuff built in.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's what Samsung do a lot, is they build stuff in themselves to try and like mitigate that sort of stuff,
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm very, very ready for the Watch 6 Classic in particular. I was showing off the heart rate zones because they talked about how you can customize heart rate zones. Like, you can either personalize it yourself and input with your own information, or you can let the watch determine it. Because at the moment, the heart rate zone is basically just determined from your age. It's like 220 minus your age, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's your max heart rate. Whereas that's not the case for everyone. So they allow you to customize it either manually, or they will sort of have it based off your own workout routines and patterns, and they'll determine your heart rate zones, which is nice.
Yeah. So there's a question on accessories, and I've seen in the other clips that you showed there was lots of straps, and I've recognized a couple in there. But what Wendy was interested in was how to attach it. Is it new? Is it different to how it was done before?
So yeah, it's still, I think I saw another question in there. Someone said that the size wasn't 20mm anymore, which is incorrect. It's still using the same 20mm size as last year. And all the new watch straps will be compatible with the old ones, with the old watches. So like, you will still be able to, but what's new is there's just a new mechanism to be able to connect to it. So like to connect to the watch and swap watch bands out, which means that way you can still use third-party bands. They just won't have the quick connector, whereas Samsung's first-party ones will. Yeah,
nice. Lisa,
I was meant to show the what. Sorry, yes, go ahead.
It'd be great if they brought a host of different watch designs. I like the curved screen on the wrist, for example, they made several years ago. Yeah, that was
the Gear S.
Cool.
Yeah,
is that what it was?
That was my first smartwatch that I had when I started working at Samsung. The one they gave me, that was a beast. That thing. They're some of the ones that we got to see at the event.
There's a couple in there that I'm thinking, yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, they're fluoroelastomer, or they've got like sport ridge bands. Like, where have you seen those ones? Okay, where have you seen those ones before?
No, I haven't seen those before. But I've seen the bottom right is definitely an Apple one.
Yeah, that's fair. And then they've got the leather ones, which they've had for ages, and then they've got
Yeah.
this like link titanium link ones, I think.
Yeah, that's the
Which are
Milanese
nice.
loop.
The Milanese loop, that's the one. That's the one I've seen. So yeah, the watches, they have really cool, neat stuff about them.
Yeah.
But the batteries won't be as big as the Watch 5 Pro, but they are bigger than the ones they're replacing, and they've got the new processor. So that's something to sort of celebrate, I guess you could say.
Brilliant. Now, so what are you getting personally? You know, of course, Samsung, I'm sure will be sending you some stuff, but what?
Yeah,
what are
I'm
you
getting the icy blue fold,
Nice.
which I am pumped for. And now it's just a matter of what else to buy, like what else I should get alongside
What
it. Like,
configuration? I mean, is there many different? I mean, I haven't looked at the storage options and things like that. Are there any difference in options, or is it just the one size?
well, the Flip no longer starts at 128 gigabyte; it starts at 256 now.
Good.
Which, yeah, it should have always been the case. At least in Australia, it's doing that. Don't know what it's doing in a global sense. And then Fold is still 256, 512, 1 terabyte, no change. And
Guys,
what else have we got?
if you ever do any YouTube videos, you're not a real creator until you get this comment on your videos.
What's that? Jamaica.
Paul and Jamaica in the
Portland.
building. If you don't get these in your
Okay.
videos, you're not a real creator. Just kidding. Thanks for joining us from Jamaica. Nice.
Yeah, beautiful. I've been to Jamaica. Lovely place.
So okay, so that's good. So more storage, and you've gone for the 256 on Fold. Is that right?
I don't know what I'm getting.
Okay.
I hope it's 512 because I got a 512 Ultra. So
Yeah.
I'd like to, I think without I use my Ultra to take all the videos for my YouTube channel. Like, all my videos are filmed on my Smarty Ultra, so I need a bit of higher storage.
Yeah. Nice.
But I'm not. I'll keep using the Ultra for that purpose anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna stick with 256 on the Fold,
Yeah.
mainly because I don't really use it for a lot of video and storage. I mean, 256 is plenty for me. It has been. I think 128 would have been okay for me. But
yeah, I had a 128 Flip last year, and because I used it as my work phone, I wasn't bothered. But now 256 is nice to have.
Yeah. And you're getting a Tab as well, right? Tab S9 Ultra. Is that right?
I haven't decided yet.
I haven't decided yet.
I don't know.
I'm
I think I'll definitely
it.
get the Flip. You're definitely going to get it?
I'm not getting the Flip. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to sleep on it for now, but I'm definitely getting the Tab S9 Ultra because it would be a disservice to the channel if I didn't, right? I've spoken about the Tab S9 Ultra for so long. So it might be just a case of saying, don't bother, even if it's not the case. Yeah. But I want to have a look at it and see how it compares, not just with the Tab S8 Ultra, but also with the M1, the M2 iPad Pros, see how they stack up.
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess you have both of those, so you can sort of compare it. Is anyone in the comments picking up anything?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, what are you buying, or have you already got some?
Some of you may, depending on who's still here.
Yeah, I know Lee's.
Did you see?
He just bought a Sony Xperia 1V or yeah. It's that's.
Did you see Sun Hyung-min advertising the Watch 6?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they got.
Was that the event?
Unpacked. That was the event. Yeah, he was in one of the promotion. I don't think he was there in person, but he was definitely in one of the videos.
Nice. I was frantically editing my video as the event was going on another device, and so I recorded some of it and watched some of it. But yeah,
watch some of it back.
I saw Sugar, whoever he is.
From BTS.
3 letters.
Yeah, that's a thing. They go them pretty hard. I'm telling you, those, because they're pretty much aligned with Samsung.
Right. Yeah, so Jay's getting a Flip. Are you joining the Flip side, Jay? Yeah. No, I'm team Fold for now. I love the Fold 4. I was sold, and actually, the experience on that device has been so great that it stopped me from buying. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I need one of those. I actually initially got excited for the Pixel Fold when it was announced by Google, and I was like, yeah, I've got to try it. But then I saw a photo of it, and say no more. I think that was enough for me to. I don't know. I think they will probably catch up and have better bezels, better experience. But I think for the price they're charging.
That's I think the sticking point for me.
Yeah,
it's the sticking point for me. That it's the price, and it's not available everywhere. Like it's not available in Australia. I can't get the Pixel Fold here, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So a lot of people holding on. These things are so expensive as well. So it's kind of a tricky one. But I know a lot of Fold, not Fold 4 users, but Fold users, like either the original or Fold 3, I think, said to me that they've been waiting for the Fold 5. So I think there'll be a lot of people who are, have been saving up and waiting for this one, but skipped Fold 4. There's going to be a lot of people who did that.
I think they've made the right choice as well. Like 3 to 4, the main upgrade was really like the camera. Right? There was a couple of sleek things, like the weight was reduced and the hinge was redesigned to be slimmer and lighter. But on the surface of it, you didn't get anything extra. Whereas this year, I think with the no gap hinge, it's definitely a lot lighter. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy is nothing to be sneezed at. Like that is going to really amplify how people can use the Fold in sort of more situations. So
nice. Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, it was my first foldable, so it made sense for me. It probably doesn't make sense for me to get the Fold 5 now, but from a channel perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
Whatever way you need to justify it, you do it. That's how I've learned to do it now. It's just, the channel. It's all about the channel. And I'm like,
it's an investment, as I keep telling myself and my wife. Great to have you here, Daniel, and thank you so much, everyone. By the way, guys, go check Daniel's channel. He's actually got some of his videos already out for these new devices, and I'll see you around. There'll be a couple of videos from me as well later on. Cheers, guys.
Can't wait.
See you soon, mate. Bye.
See you later. Bye.